it's here. This is the Clara Luper radio show. Today's show is being brought to you by Rainbow, and Rainbow is good bread. You listen to the Clara Luper radio show because this is a show that brings you the best in broadcasting. This is a show that keeps you informed as to what's happening and why it's happening. Today I'm going to dedicate this program to three little Zetas. These Zetas are from Texas. Well, the third Zeta is not here, but two of them are here, and this is their program. Wherever you are, I want you to remember that this is unusual to dedicate a program to two Zetas. That's unusual. I am being very egotistical, call it that, but the fact is this program belongs to Judy Webster of New Liberia, Louisiana, and Melvin Richardson of Fort Worth, Texas, and they will be with me later on in this program. In the meantime, I would like to talk to you about cashing your checks. Would you like to have a safe, sound place to cash your check? Then I want you to go to Cashlands, located at 1945 Northeast 23rd Street. I want you to go there and tell them you heard it on the Clara Luper radio show. Now, when you go in, if you want to send some money by Western Union, or if you want to send a special announcement, do it, because they have a Western Union station there. Not only that, you can pay some of the bills that you want to pay. And you want to pay your bills, you want to pay them on time. And all you have to do is to go to Cashlands, 1945 Northeast 23rd Street, here in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Congratulations to Joyce Henderson. Joyce Henderson, the principal of Northeast High School, is one of the 7 to win the top honors in administration in this nation. I want to repeat that. The votes are now in. The judging has been completed. Joyce Henderson, a graduate of Dungy High School and Langston University, now the proud principal of Northeast High School, located on the northeast side of Oklahoma City, won the top administrator in the state of Oklahoma, and all of her credentials were sent to the national office, and she's one of the 7 best in the United States. They honor 7 in the United States, and Joyce Henderson is in that top 7. Now, what I want you to do is to contact Joyce. Those of you that were her classmates, I want you to write a letter congratulating her. I want you to send her telegrams. I want you to send her flowers. Because I so often tell you that I don't want you sending any flowers to me when I die. Because I want all my flowers now, while I'm alive. I want to be able to enjoy. I don't want you waiting until I die to bring me some food. I want you to bring me the food now, where I can enjoy it. I can just see my children, Merle, Calvin and Shelley, eating up all my food. Well, I need my food now. This is a Clara Luper radio show, and speaking of radio shows, I will be talking to your favorite Allstate insurance agent in just a minute. Your favorite agent is Marilyn Hildred. You have made her the top Allstate agent in her area. You were with her when she started at Sears on 23rd and Penn. You followed her to May Avenue, and then you followed her again as she moved, making progress to 9228 North May Avenue. And then you cried with her on December the 3rd when her building, along with 9 other offices, were burned. But now you are with her again. Her office is located at 12028 North May Street in Oklahoma City, and I'm expecting to hear from Maryland immediately. In the meantime, I would like to salute that Zeta that has made history, Evelyn Pittman. Evelyn Pittman, a school teacher, a composer, a writer, and most of all, a promoter. The only person in Oklahoma City that has written and produced an opera that has gone all over the world. The Evelyn Pittman Choir, well known. And let me tell you something. Evelyn Pittman is doing a salute to Jim Noble, and I'm expecting her to call me. I'm expecting Evelyn to call me to let me know exactly what's going on.
Hello.
This is a Clara Luper radio show, and this show is being made possible by Marilyn Hildred of the Allstate Insurance Company. And Marilyn Hildred of the Allstate Insurance Company.
Who?
We do have someone on the telephone. This is the Clara Luper radio show. May I help you?
This is Evelyn Pittman calling, Clara.
Yes, Evelyn Pittman, I was just talking about you because I want the world to know all about you.
Oh, that's just great of you. But first, let me say this. I was at the big celebration for Martin Luther King this past Monday, and it was my pleasure to hear you speak. I must confess I've heard none better. You are one gutsy woman with a lot going for you and for our people in America. I want to compliment you.
I really appreciate that.
You're
because
welcome.
after my speech, I was able to hear from my good friends in the Ku Klux Klan, the White Citizens Council, and to hear from you is just rewarding.
Well, I don't know what they are doing now, but I do know what they were doing during the time that Jim Noble lived.
Okay.
And I don't think things are that much better in this day and time. But thank God we have people like you who will stand up and state what your heart says.
Evelyn,
Mm-hmm.
I notice one thing that's outstanding. You notice I'm dedicating my program today to two Zetas?
Yes.
Oh, they
I'm
are
glad
beautiful.
of that.
I wish you could see them. They all dressed up in that Z5B, that blue. They have sweatshirts and pants, and they are really beautiful. I would love for them to meet you while they are here.
How long will
in
they be
Oklahoma.
here?
They will leave here this evening.
Mm.
I'm going to feed them, though, before I send them back across the Red River.
All right.
But I want you to explain to the people a bit about your background. I'm particularly interested in your developing your artistic skills and what you have done for art and music in America.
Well, I was born in McAlester, Oklahoma, and my father died when I was 6 months old. I never knew him. And my mother moved to Oklahoma City with 6 children to feed. And by the grace of God, she remained a lady. Somehow she was able to find food to put on the table, and in later years she married a well-to-do man by the name of Isaac Kimbrough.
Oh, that's exciting to marry a well-to-do man. I know a lot of people on radio land, a lot of people are hoping that they can find a well-to-do man.
Well,
Okay.
you know, he had to love her when he would take in 6 little miles.
He was, wait a minute now, Evelyn. Are you telling me that this well-to-do man took on the responsibilities
Right.
of not only a wife, but to feed 6 children?
Yes, well, of course, at that time, my sister Blanche, you know her very well. She's also a Zeta.
Okay, well, we're saluting Zetas today, and I
All
know
right.
my friends of other Greeks won't mind it.
All right, so Blanche was in college at that time, and my brothers had helped to put her there with my mother. But to go on with the story, I came up through the Oklahoma City public schools until I finished the 9th grade. Then I was sent to Detroit, to what was considered America's model high school, Highland Park High School.
Oh, I didn't get the name of that high school.
Highland Park.
Okay.
And I must say to you that it was one prejudiced school. They had around 5,000 students, including the junior college that was there. And it was most difficult for me to make my presence known, but that I did.
Okay, now how in the world can you make your presence known in a situation like that?
Well, I had a brother who later became a minister, and he was constantly telling me to do things. For example, I wanted to sing in the special choir they had there. And my cousin said, you will never make it. They don't let any Negroes in that choir. And my brother Wilbur said, sis, you go ahead and try. So after 3 efforts, I went into the choir room, and there was this distinguished-looking man. I'll never forget his name, Roy Parsons, and he looked at me as though I was from outer space. And he said, what do you want? And I told him I wanted to try out for the special choir. And he said, you? I said, yes. So he turned to Mrs. Stubbs and said to her to bring out a piece of music and asked me to sing this music. Now, the piano accompaniment didn't help the sopranos, the altos, no voices. That meant you had to get in there and sing it. And that I did. I had gotten good training from Zelia N. Bro in Oklahoma City.
Oh, was she the band director here?
She was. And she was the one who trained Sherman Sneed, who later became Lena Horne's business manager. She was the one that worked with Christian, who became one of the top-notch guitar players in the country. He was the originator of bebop.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
You better tell me that again so I can remember.
I'm trying to think of his first name.
Okay, we'll take his last name.
And his brother, as we knew him, was the most outstanding. But this young man went on to do great things. In the Big 555, Jimmy Russian came up under Zelia N. Bro. So we have a lot of people from Oklahoma who have made the big time, but they got their start right here in Oklahoma City. But back to this other.
Okay, well, that's really of great interest to me because, you know, I'm from Hoffman, Oklahoma,
Yes.
from Grayson High School. We didn't have to worry about that because we didn't have a music teacher nor a band teacher.
Right.
So I salute those of you that were fortunate enough to have that.
And then, Clara, I made my presence known in the field of sports.
Just a minute now. No one would ever associate you with sports.
Oh, yes. I was a tennis player, became one of the top tennis players there. And when I went to Spelman, I was the top tennis player.
Oh, I see.
And I got my awards, sweater, and everything.
Well, I have never thought of you as a tennis player.
Oh, yes. I was moving around.
Okay.
Hitting that ball. Well, before I left high school, I recall talking with a man by the name of Mr. Wolf. He was German. And I had been trying to get into the operettas and the operas that were given there. But whenever I got to try out, they didn't have any need for anybody else. And Mr. Wolf called me aside and he said, Evelyn, where do you plan to go to college? I said, well, I would like to go to the University of Michigan. He said, I hope you won't take this the wrong way, but you should go to a small school of your own people because you have unusual creative talents. And go where somebody will take an interest in you and help develop your talents. Well, my sister was from Spelman. My mother wanted me to go to Spelman, so that's where I went. And that was the place to go.
Okay, so you went to Spelman.
Yes.
You were still living in Oklahoma City, or were you living in Detroit?
No, I was living in Detroit.
Okay, now I have my story straight.
Yes, I was in Detroit then. So when I came home just for a month before I went to Spelman, and there was a virtuoso violinist. His name was Kemper Harold, and his daughter was my classmate. She was a very fine pianist. Anyway, he took interest in me, and I was playing the violin. He told me if I stayed in Atlanta one summer, he would teach me. I went through 5 violin books one summer. I stayed to play tennis, and to work with the violin. He taught me to play the trombone. I played in the Morehouse Spelman Orchestra. I sang in the Morehouse Spelman Chorus, the Spelman Glee Club, the Spelman Quartet, and wrote my first music for a Greek play called Antigone. Got a good review from the Crisis magazine, and I was on my way into the field of composition.
I'll be back with Elton Pittman in just a minute. In the meantime, this program is brought to you by Bright's Cleaners. Your clothes really need cleaning. Therefore, I'm recommending Bright's Cleaners to you. The cleaners located at 4905 North Martin Luther King Avenue. You can take your clothes by in the morning and you can pick them up in the evening. That's Bright's Cleaners, 4905 North Martin Luther King Avenue. And be sure and tell them that you heard it on the Clara Luper radio show. This is the Clara Luper radio show, and today's show is being brought to you by Cash Lands. Cash Lands, located at 1945 Northeast 23rd Street. This is a place where you can go in and get your check cashed, pay your utility bills, and leave out smiling, because you know you don't have to worry about anything. Today we are saluting two Zetas, and these Zetas are from Texas. Although one lives in Louisiana, she decided to come to Big T for school. You will be hearing from them later. And incidentally, they are two Zetas, and they are dressed as Zetas. They look like Zetas, and they smile like Zetas. And I'm talking to a Zeta that wrote her first piece when you were in college.
Right.
I mean, created it.
Right. Well, after I left Spelman, I came home, Oklahoma City. And you know Mrs. Alphania Young? Does that name mean
Of course, she's one of our Mikai sisters.
Right on. She asked me to organize, in fact, when I was a junior, organize choir for youngsters at Tabernacle Church. And
now, when you say Tabernacle, are you talking about Tabernacle Baptist Church?
That's right.
Okay.
That was located on 3rd and Byers at that time.
Mm-hmm.
These youngsters were to sing in the district Sunday school and BYPU contest. And my kids went, they won. They won 3 consecutive years. They got 3 cups. Then they hired me out. I was hired at Fairview, where I made my first money, $8 a month.
At Fairview Baptist Church?
Yes, training the choir out there. And then Tabernacle called me home to work with that group. And we trained the Tabernacle.
What did they do, pay you $10 a month?
Well, no, they just gave me a dime each a week.
Oh, that's good. How many did you have in the choir?
Oh, well, now, let me tell you, there was a lot of people in there, but they all didn't pay.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure it was difficult to get a dime in those days.
That's right. But at any rate, I loved music, and we trained that choir, and that choir won the cup from the great musician there in Tulsa. I'm trying to think of her name, but it escapes me now. But we won the cup 3 times. No, we had to qualify 3 times before you would be issued the cup. Then we took this group out to Los Angeles for the National Baptist Convention, and we sang out there. The late Minnie B. Anderson, you recall her?
Yes.
She was funeralized just a week or 2 ago. She was one of my accompanants out there. According to the critics and everything, this choir compared favorably with the famous Hall Johnson choir that was in the movies. You've heard of Hall Johnson?
Of course I've heard of Hall Johnson.
So anyway, after that, I married my college sweetheart. And
you married your college sweetheart.
Yes,
okay.
Yes. I rarely go into that.
Okay, I'm not going to discuss marriage because I'm a marriage consultant, and my price is $525 a session.
I know.
I'm not going to be doing any consulting on credit. I want it in cash, no checks,
All right.
no personal checks.
All right.
Okay, now let's skip the marriage part because we all over this state the people are wondering. Let's skip a portion of your life and let's move into the part where you compose your first opera.
All right. When I believe it was 48, I went to Juilliard School of Music. and studied with a man by the name of Robert Ward, and wrote some music for a book review that was being done by a lady named Clara. She was on KOMA, and at that time I was in radio at WKY. And I must say to you that our show was the first network show in the Southwest to be aired, and that was out of Oklahoma City. I was just reading a book here by Roy P. Stewart titled Born Grown, and nothing is mentioned in that book about this show. However, I have publicity dating from that time. And this show was aired for 6 months by NBC, but we stayed on the air a total of 14 years. And the title of the show was Southern Rivers. And there's a lot connected with that. We'll skip on over that. So I went to Juilliard and wrote some music and came back and was put on by the YWCA. I was at that time interested in writing something about Jim Noble. But let me get back to the book that I wrote, Rich Heritage.
I have required when I was in education, and now I'm not teaching U.S. history. I required all of my students to read that book.
Thank you.
And I don't think we've made enough music about it in Oklahoma.
Well, this is one of the places that I could never get it on the book list. However, it was on the book list in New York State. It was on the book list, and perhaps still is, in Washington, D.C., and I have letters where they have written wanting to know when I was going to get the second volume on. But back to the story, I talked with Mr. Moon about Jim Noble and his bringing the Great Seal. And Moon said, oh, yes, it's commonly known. I told him I wanted to write a musical about him. When I went to the University of Oklahoma under Harrison Kerr, I was told that I would have to do opera to serve as my thesis for my master's degree in music. And I did not have enough time to do research on Jim Noble. So I did the opera, Cousin Esther, which is based on the biblical tale of Esther.
Oh, I saw that,
yes.
And I really enjoyed it.
Well, that opera was, I went to Paris with it and studied with the world-renowned teacher with whom Harrison Kerr had studied. She loved the work and invited me to come back. I went back in 1956 and studied with her for a year and a half. It was produced in Paris 4 times at the American Church, for UNESCO, and 2 nights at the University Theater. And we got marvelous reviews from the critics there. Then I came into New York on my way back home. And a group of friends whom I had met said, if you go back to Oklahoma, you'll never get back to New York. So you know what, Clara?
What?
My luggage came to Oklahoma City, and I remained there.
Okay, now you've been in Oklahoma City. We're about to run out of time for
Right.
the Evelyn Pittman story. Tell me what you're doing for, Black Heritage
Well, I'm
Month.
going to just tell you one thing, and I'll talk with you again next week, and each week keep you posted.
Okay,
All
because
right,
I really want to be intelligent.
All right, now what we are doing, the Black Heritage Committee, which is a part of the Oklahoma Historical Society, is putting on programs for February. Mr. Rose, who is chairperson, asked that I would serve as program director. And with me are these people working. Mrs. Hall, Ruby Hall, Denivetta Davis at the library, Jewel Beatty, and I. And the first thing we did was to invite the Pleasant Hill School, that's the elementary school, to come in and do a program on February the 7th. That will be at 11:30 in the morning. And incidentally, listen to this, they are singing songs from rich heritage.
Oh, that's great news.
And one of my students, Horace Stevenson, you've heard that name?
Yes, I've heard
He's
Horace
the franchise owner from McDonald's here.
I know Horace Stevenson
Okay,
very
I
well.
taught Horace.
Okay.
And he is going to speak on this subject. I sang songs from rich heritage
Oh, wonderful.
over 40 years ago.
Well, I hope Horace won't sing any of them on that particular program.
That. Anyway, they are singing about 6 songs from rich heritage. And then there's going to be a little drama that has been written especially for this occasion by Carolyn Clay. There'll be 14 students, and they will be performing. So that's all I'll tell you today. I'll talk with you again next Saturday.
It's been a pleasure, and thanks a lot. I didn't talk to you about Zeta. What do you think about the Zeta Phi Beta sorority? We have these little sisters here from Texas. What do you think about that sorority?
Well, I think the Zeta Phi Beta sorority is one of the finest sororities in the country, in the world.
All right.
Because the people in there, as Willie Rose says, she's at Langston, because someone said, well, the Zeta girls may not be beautiful, but they surely are brainy.
Well, just a minute. Let's correct that. Evidently, she doesn't understand the Zeta girls are beautiful, and they are brainy.
No, she didn't say it. She heard one of the fellows say that.
Oh, he was just excited because the girls wouldn't pay him any attention. Thank you, Evelyn.
There you are.
This is the Clara Luper radio show, and today's show is being made possible by Behold the Walls, the best book of the civil rights movement that has been written. Behold the Walls, 346 exciting pages relating the story of America's longest nonviolent sit-in movement. Now, if you have not read the book, then you don't know anything about the sit-in movement. This book will tell you exactly what happened, how it happened. Once again, congratulations to Joyce Henderson, an Oklahoma school administrator, as a state winner for the National Arts Award presented each year to outstanding educators, and now a national winner. We've been celebrating Martin Luther King's birthday, and I would like to thank all of you. On last Sunday, I had the opportunity to be the guest speaker at the New Zion Baptist Church in Ardmore, Oklahoma, where they have called one of our own ministers as the pastor. Many of you will remember that church, and you will remember the work that was done by Reverend Beatty. But let me give you some good news. That work continues on with Reverend Williams. I have never been to a church where people were so friendly, so kind, and so anxious to follow the kind of leadership that was necessary. And to all of you in Ardmore, Oklahoma today that are listening, I just want to thank you for your hospitality. I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak on this occasion. Now, last week I also had the opportunity to go down to Taft, Oklahoma. And I would like to say a special hello to all of you that's listening in the Taft area. I had the opportunity to visit Moulton High School, and when I walked in, they were having a big basketball game, and they stopped the basketball game and presented Clara Luper. Oh, that was really wonderful, and I want to say thanks to all of you. I also had the opportunity to visit and speak at one of our minimum security prisons. And I want you to write these figures down because I want you to know that 80% of the young people, young ladies, beautiful young ladies that are in our prison there in Taft, Oklahoma, came from Oklahoma City. I'm going to do a special study on students from various schools. I want to know where the students coming from that are filling our prisons. Because after all, we must take on that responsibility. We can no longer say it's not our concern. These are our kids, and they are beautiful. And just because they've gone to prison, we cannot turn them loose. We must show love toward them. We must see them as young people that made a bad turn, and they're trying to turn back. And for those of you young people, I just want to say thank you. I also had the opportunity to see many of our young men at Dawn's Correction Center. Young men who had become victims of the age in which we are living. And I say to those young men what I'm saying to you. You can make it. If you made a mistake, admit your mistake and move on, because we need you. This is the Clara Luper Radio Show, and this show is being brought to you by Allstate Insurance Company. This is Clara Luper.
And this is Marilyn Hildred. How are you doing?
Well, Marilyn, I'm saluting Zetas today, and naturally you are Zeta. I would like to salute you.
Well, thank you very much.
And you will have the opportunity to meet these Zetas immediately after our show.
And I would just like to say thanks to the radio listening audience for all their phone calls, for all their notes that they've mailed to me, and for all their prayers. And I want to let them know that I have opened a new office, although my old office is...
And you are still, that's near 120th and Penn Avenue?
Yes.
I think that's history within itself. When I think of blacks that used to go out on Penn Avenue and 120th Street only to work as maids and janitors, and then when I pass that place and I see that's your office, it fills me with, I don't know, a motivational experience. Some way I wish that my parents could have just lived to see a descendant of slaves doing what you are doing. And how are you able to mobilize both the white and the black, both white and black clients?
I think it's basically because of my heritage. Because I understand, and I've always been a grateful person. I understood the struggles that we've been through, and I know that the accomplishments that I've been able to make is only because that I've been able to stand on the backs of others. And I think that's the main reason. Because of the background, because of the respect, because of the motivating factors, I am where I am, and I'm not where I want to be, and I'm not where I plan to be, but I am where I am because of people like you and so many other people in the community that have supported me.
So many people that have done what, Marilyn?
Supported me.
Okay, so you're thanking those people.
I am. I really am. I'm very grateful. I am very grateful.
Well, tell me about your staff.
Oh, I have a very interesting staff. I have Regina Morris, who is the office manager for my particular location. I have George Bradford, who is a solicitor. I have the people that in telemarketing and some people that training to go to work for the company, and I'm hoping that I can get my brother to come back to work for me so I can get the other aspect of my company going. And it's wonderful, because for the first time I feel like the only thing that's holding me back is my own imagination.
I can understand that. What are you saying?
I'm saying that I have not, because I have not imagined what I want to have.
Okay, now speaking of imagination, why should I come out and buy my insurance from you?
Because I will do your good job. I will take care of your business. You will have, I'm not saying that you never have any problems, because I can't guarantee that, because all of us are human, but I know that we will work diligently in making sure that those problems will be very limited.
Marilyn, I have a young lady here with me today who's from Texas, and she's majoring in insurance. And I have a young man that's in marketing.
Good. Yeah. Tell them I want to talk to them.
I know that. That's Karine Jackson, who's really from Detroit, Michigan, but she's going to school in Texas. Chris Richard is here from Dallas, Texas, and you will be hearing from these young people. What advice would you give to young people that are going into marketing and in business?
Be the best that you can be, and better than what you ever expected to be. We have not because we ask not, and we set our horizons so low our dreams and our expectations. I say dream high and work for that goal. A lot of things that we don't know that's available within the society in which we live. I say go for it. Go to the top. Why not?
Okay, you have often spoke about poverty, and you said you didn't like being poor. Why? Once you're poor, you don't have too much to worry about. You know you're poor.
Well, I have no respect for poverty. I can remember as a child and growing up, it was nothing about poverty that I respected, because when you have not, you can't. Your dreams are somewhat limited, because riding down the street. I remember as a child we rode down the street and pretended to have air conditioning with sweat and fan inside the car to make people think we had air conditioning.
Well, I think that was smart.
I think it was too. It was innovative. But poverty breeds poverty. Unless we can motivate ourselves, unless we can dream, unless we can educate, unless we read and develop, we remain in that cycle. But it's one thing about it. Once that when you are born in the system and you not necessarily understand the system, because I think as long as we live, we never understand the system as far as poverty is concerned. But our society is so. Despite all the things, the segregation, the discrimination, the have-nots, we can make it. We can make it if we devote enough time in making it. Dr. Todd spoke at our reunion, our class reunion, and the subject of his speech, and I will forget it was, you can't go back. And you can't go back into a segregated society. You cannot go back into a closed world, because the world is wide open. We can be what we want to be. We can go where we want to go. Nobody can tell me that my dreams are not my dreams, that I cannot achieve, because I know if I work hard enough, if I learn and put the knowledge in my head, I can go in spite of.
Okay, Marilyn, I want you to fix something real spicy. I want something real nice, because I'm bringing all of these Texans out there.
Well, I have some chili.
Okay, well, the Texans, if they like chili, we will be out there after the broadcast. In the meantime, thanks so much for visiting with me, and I'm trying to get in contact with Calvin, because I want Calvin to talk about Soul Bazaar 90, the great trade and industry show.
Before I let you go, again, I want to say thanks. Again, I want to say thanks to your radio listening audience, because they've been so kind.
So you're still selling what kind of insurance?
I sell all kinds of insurance. Every insurance that's sold in Oklahoma, I sell.
Well, break it down so someone from Hoffman can understand.
Oh, okay. I sell life insurance, homeowners, auto, business insurance, motor club. We finance cars, boats, mobile homes. We do it all. And if you want the best insurance agent in Oklahoma, please give me a call.
Well, thank you. And these Zetas here all smile, and that just you're really bringing some laughter out in them. They are really thrilled to death, Marilyn. And may God bless you as you continue to serve people through insurance.
Okay, well, I appreciate the opportunity. And you want to speak to Calvin?
Yes, I want Calvin to tell us about Soul Bazaar 90. That's March 16th and 17th.
Okay, well, Calvin's ready for the Soul Bazaar. I know that's right.
Okay,
here he is.
You're right. I am ready for the Soul Bazaar 1990. How are you doing, Mom, today?
Calvin, I'm really doing fine. I'm surrounded by Texans,
that's
students,
great.
and you will hear from them in a minute.
Soul Bazaar 1990.
Yes, I'm ready for Soul Bazaar 1990. Is going to be the largest Soul Bazaar that we have ever had. But I want you to tell my audience about it.
Well, there's so much that happens at the Soul Bazaar. It's quite an experience. It's a trade and industry show where you have an opportunity to meet some of the best businesses, some of the best people in businesses, where you as a person have an opportunity to go around and see what they're offering. And more importantly than that, if You got talent, you got beauty, you got the baby contest. There's so much that happens at the Soul Bazaar that it's difficult to put it all into words in in a few seconds. But then the date on the Soul Bazaar this year at the Myriad will be what?
The date will be March 16th and 17th. The place is the Myriad Convention Center. And Calvin, if anyone on Radio Land would like to participate in the baby contest, the Miss Soul Bazaar, the Little Miss Soul Bazaar, the Mr. Talent USA show, and incidentally, we are very proud of that show.
So much that happens at it because great things happen at the bazaar. Great things happen. When you have an opportunity to really sit down and talk with your people, to go by and visit different type of products, see different types of products, see different types of businesses. It can't help but make a good impression on a consumer. And it's a business market. But then if you have talent, then that stage at the Soul Bazaar, an opportunity to show that talent to people who can help you, who can turn you into the right direction. That really helps some talented people. I have a young man that says he's thinking about hearing, but he's a rap artist, he says. But then when that stage hits him, I don't know.
Well, we're going to put the best on the stage, and I would like to announce to you that this year we will have the largest number of exhibitors in the history of the Soul Bazaar. Well, Calvin, I gotta go.
Well, I hate to see you go, but I'm listening to you.
Okay.
And, be careful.
You're like 600,000 other people. You always visit with the Clara Luper radio show, so you have something to complain about after the show.
Well, count it 600,001 because I have some friends that are new listeners, and they enjoy the show too. So have a good time because we are.
All right. Thank you so very kindly.
This portion of our program is being brought to you by Merlin Hildred, your Allstate insurance agent. If it's insurance you need, and you do need insurance, because I'm sure it'd be embarrassing to you when you get to heaven to find out you didn't have life insurance and your people are worrying about paying the bills. So therefore, take care of that before you take off. As I told you before, I was dedicating this program to some very important Zetas that are my very distinguished guests today. I have with me a young lady from New Iberia, Louisiana. And what is your name?
My name is Judy Webster.
Judy, I would like to welcome you to Oklahoma. And I want you to tell me about Judy. What's Judy doing and where is she in school?
I attend school at the University of North Texas.
Okay, at the University of North Texas, and that's located where?
In Denton, Texas.
And what are you majoring in?
I'm majoring in fashion merchandising.
Why did you decide to major in fashion merchandising?
When I was in high school, I used to sew a lot of things for my friends, and after I graduated, I decided to go to Barter Fashion College, which is in Arlington, Texas. And after I got my associate's degree there, I decided I also wanted my bachelor's degree. So I wanted it in kind of like in business. So that's why I went to the University of North Texas to get my degree in fashion merchandising.
All right, now, will you be able to get a degree?
Yes, I will.
Are you really a senior?
Yes, I am a senior.
Okay, we are living in an age where we have a large number of students that drop out of school. How do you think you have been able to stay in school?
I think because I have a lot of determination, and besides I have my mother who's behind me 100%, and she's always encouraging me to continue going to school. And even sometimes when my grades aren't the way they should be, my mother's always there telling me that I can do it and that the grades will get better, and I need to stick with it.
I noticed today you're wearing this beautiful blue and white Zeta shirt. Did you design that?
No, I didn't. I took it to our student union on campus.
You purchased it there?
Yes, I did.
Okay, now if you would tell me about one piece that you have really designed as a fashion designer, I would be so happy, and my whole radio audience would know about it.
When I was going to Barter Fashion College, we had a fashion show, and we were required to design at least 3 garments for the show. I designed 3 garments of my own. I drew the sketches, I made the pattern, and I also sewed the garments.
Oh, that's wonderful. What I would like for you to do for me, I would like for you to design a dress that's dedicated to Grayson, Oklahoma, because I finished high school at Grayson High School, and I was a top 5 in my class. I think we are having a class reunion this evening. There were only 5 in my class, so. But I want to design a dress with 5 figures on it. I want one that would look like Gladys Caddy. I want one that would look like Onita Shepherd. I want one that would look like Carrie Watkins, and then I want one that would look like me. All of these figures, and I want one that looks like Ella Mae Anderson. I want you to do that for me. It's such a pleasure to talk to you. I'm sure you are enjoying listening to the Clara Luper radio show.
I sure am.
And you are a Zeta. Why are you a Zeta?
Because I love blue and white, and I love Zetas.
All right. I love Zetas too. Would you introduce me to another Zeta that's here today?
Yes, I also have another Zeta here,
Yes.
and her name is Mevelyn Richardson.
Mevelyn, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Tell me about Mevelyn Richardson.
Richardson, yes.
Richardson, all right.
Well, I'm also a student at the University of North Texas. I'm majoring in elementary education. I'm a junior right now. I have 3 more hours to go, and I'll be a senior. And I'm from Fort Worth, Texas.
Oh, wonderful. I noticed you have that big Z5B with stars in it.
Of course.
Okay, how did you get that?
Well, I pledged in the fall, last semester, fall of '89. And I'm really excited. I'm really excited about Zeta. It was a lot of hard work and a lot of effort, on my part and on the part of my sorors, but it was well worth the effort.
Do you realize that you are in one of the top sorority in the United States that's dedicated to finer womanhood, service? Did you know that?
Yes, I did.
Are you willing to take on that responsibility and keep the banner flying?
Yes, I am.
All right, now I understand that you are going into the field of education. Is
Yes,
that
ma'am.
correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Why did you decide to go into education?
Because I love children. It took me a long time to really come to it because teachers nowadays, they have so many problems and everything because of the salaries and people are not really giving them the recognition that they deserve. But, even though these obstacles do exist, I thought that it would be wise for me to go ahead and do something that makes me happy. And I love kids, and it makes me really happy to want to teach. I want to go to Jamaica and teach students there, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Oh, before you go to Jamaica, I would like for you to come by Oklahoma City and do some teaching because there will be a great demand for
Okay.
teachers. And thank you for being my guest. And why did you decide to become a Zeta?
Well, again, like Judy said, I love the blue and white, and Zeta Phi Beta, there is none greater.
All right, thank you so very kindly. Oh, those of you out in radio land, this is a Clara Luper radio show, and you don't mind me being a bit egotistical today. I hope you don't. And those of you that have something to say for your sorority, I know Dr. Dale Smith is really talking about me. Dr. Dale, I love the Sigma Gamma Rose too. You remember that I am also what do you call me? Oh, sometimes you call me your soror, but that's all right, Dr. Dale Smith, I love you. And other than you, all of your Sigmas, your AKAs, Deltas, all of you are really great people, but you must remember charity begins at home. I do have a young lady here, a beautiful young lady who is here, and would you give us your name, please?
My name is Corinne Jackson.
Corinne Jackson, I understand that you are a student where?
I'm at the University of North Texas. It's located in Denton, Texas.
Why did you leave Detroit with all of its universities and decide to come to school in the South?
Well, basically, I thought I could broaden my horizons by leaving the area in which I grew up, and I had relatives in Texas, so I moved there to go to school.
Do you think that you made a great decision?
I made an excellent decision. I went home this Christmas, and you know how you go back home and some things just never seem to change, and you change and you grow, and so my spirit has been enlightened since I've moved away. And I would recommend, just to anyone who's thinking about going to school, it's so much better and you learn so much more because you are learning from people that have come from diverse areas, and you just pick up a lot more knowledge.
Okay, you are learning. What are you going to do when you finish school?
Well, my main goal really is to start my own public adjusting service. And basically what a public adjuster is like, say for instance, your house catch on fire. Well, I would go in and I would estimate the damage done to your home and submit it to the insurance company to ensure that you would get a proper settlement. And I want to be able to help in that fashion, because what happens so many other times is insurance companies, they will adjust the claim, but sometimes the claim doesn't cover the actual damages to your home, in which then you, the insurance purchaser, would have to then take up that slack.
Are you telling me that you are taking classes in public adjustment?
I'm taking classes in property loss, in real estate, and insurance, and all of things to that nature. And plus, my dad has an office in Dallas in which, I'd like to broaden that facility.
Oh, so your dad has an office in Dallas, and you're becoming better educated so you can help him. Now, you're a young lady, a beautiful young lady. You're in school, and I know that in the next few years, you're not only going to have to make a decision about your occupations, you're going to have to make a decision about the type of man that you will marry. Now, for the benefit of our radio audience, if you have the opportunity, and you will have that opportunity, what kind of man will you marry? Let me ask you, would you marry a high school dropout?
Probably not, because we probably wouldn't have a lot to talk about. One of the first things I would really look for in a man is hopefully he's a Christian. That's one of the first things that I look for. And then after that, if he's a Christian, then more than likely things tend to fall in place for him.
Okay, well, those of you that sellers out there, you won't have a chance. She's giving you the information. This is the Clara Luper radio show, and I'm bringing you the best in radio. Well, sometimes they say you save the best to the last, and if that is true today, ladies and gentlemen, I'm happy to present all the way from Dallas, Texas, Chris Richard. Chris, tell me about yourself.
Well, I'm a marketing student at the University of North Texas.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Why did you decide to become a market student?
Because, I love sales and I love people.
Okay, you love sales and you love people, is that right?
Correct.
Okay, what kind of people do you love?
I love all types of people. Christian people, sinners.
Oh, you love all kinds of people, okay.
Yeah.
And you decide, okay, did you play any sports in school?
Yes, I played football and basketball in high school at Skyline High School in Dallas, Texas.
Okay, and now what did you say?
I played football and basketball at Skyline High School in Dallas, Texas.
Oh, wonderful. Are you on a scholarship in school?
No, I'm just attending school.
You attend school and you're paying your own way in school?
Yes.
Oh, well, you're to be commended. And I would like to certainly thank you for visiting with Clara Luper today, okay?
It's my pleasure.
Well, thank you, sir. This is the Clara Luper radio show. This is the Clara Luper radio show.
Yes.
Yes.
Hey, how you doing?
Oh, I'm doing fine.
Yes, I would like to call in and make a comment.
Yes, sure you can make a comment.
Yes. Well, I was fountain Mike.
Okay, now I can't understand you. You were what?
Yes. I was at this office the other day, about a week ago, and I was down to the EEOC building.
Yes.
And I was down there, and it seems to be a lot of race discrimination going on, within the city. And like I said, I was down. I would like to remain anonymous, but I was down there, and I happened to overhear, this lady supervisor that's handling my case down there at EEOC Opportunity Building, that's handling my case for my job-related accident. And I just overheard the way her supervisor reacted to her, as more or less of a race discrimination action. I felt that was kind of, out of ordinary, because the way it was made within public.
Well, let me tell you something. I have received from the regional office in Dallas
Yes, ma'am.
a complete report on the EEOC office.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, as a news reporter, I will have to get both sides of the story.
Yes.
So I have a meeting set up next week with your manager in that office.
Yes, ma'am.
The manager has informed me that it will be all right. I will have representatives from CCL and the Urban League. So next week I should be able to give you a full report.
Okay.
Now, someone that was at the rally other night that told a man that I talked about him at the state capitol.
Yes, ma'am.
And I would like to repeat what I said. Let freedom ring at EEOC. And if he doesn't like it, he can certainly do something about it.
Yes.
Thank you so much for calling.
And thank you very much, too.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This week I've had the opportunity to talk about my America. I would like to thank the Daily Oklahoman for exposing the injustices within our society as it relates to Martin Luther King's birthday. Can you believe that such schools, such cities, with schools, training our young people to go out in the world, would not recognize Martin Luther King's birthday. After the rally on Monday, we went to various city halls. I had the opportunity to go to Norman, Oklahoma, where the Honorable Mr. Reynolds was mayor, along with 14 other people. We walked in the office, called for the mayor. The mayor came out, and I explained our business there. I explained to the mayor that we were there to see why Norman, Oklahoma, the home of Oklahoma University, would not recognize Martin Luther King's birthday. The mayor gave me a lesson in history. When he had finished, I told him that I had that information already. It had nothing to do with the subject at hand. And I shall tell you the rest of the story as it unfolds. Now, those of you down to the University of Oklahoma, you've got to stand up and be counted. And I would like to say to Norman, Oklahoma, that we will have a Martin Luther King holiday next year. If we do not have it, you're going to see more beautiful black and white people than you have ever dreamed of. I have over 500 white people that have signed up to march with me in Norman, Oklahoma. I'm ashamed of Bethany, Oklahoma, a religious city where you cannot even buy a can of beer. Yet, they failed to recognize Martin Luther King's birthday. Now you say to me, Clara, why? Let's look at the law. We are a nation of law-abiding people. It is a federal law that Martin Luther King's birthday is a national holiday. That's not a law that's made by black people alone. And if a city official does not obey a federal law, how do you expect other people to obey those laws? The same thing is true at Nichols Hills, Edmond with Central State University. I'm ashamed of you. Jones, Choctaw. Can you imagine? Now the great one. It is a state law in Oklahoma to recognize Martin Luther King's birthday. And therefore, I'm calling upon all of the city officials to obey the state law. Now, if you do not obey the state law as it relates to Martin Luther King's holiday, how are you going to obey it in terms of taxes and other things? Now, this is not a racial issue. It's not a racial issue. It's whether or not you are going to obey the law. Now, since I have been speaking this past week and got some news in the newspaper, many of you have called and threatened me and told me what all you were going to do to me. Well, let me tell you what I'm going to do to you, white America. I'm going to see to it that you obey the law as it relates to Martin Luther King's holiday. Don't tell me how many friends you have that are black. That's your personal business. Don't tell me you didn't know about it. Now, I cannot believe that, because I cannot believe in this state we would have people so ignorant of the law that they would not know that Martin Luther King's birthday is a holiday. Now, all of you that are black out there, and I heard one black professor say black people should pull themselves up by their own hair strings. Well, I'm sorry to say to this black professor that some blacks wear wigs, and if they pull their hair up by their hair strings, the wigs would come off. And I would also like to tell you that we have blacks that are bald-headed. Therefore, your theory will not stand up. Now, the reason for this is very historical. When West Germany was beaten down at the end of the war, I didn't hear anybody saying, pull yourselves up by your shoestrings. Rather, I heard about the Marshall Aid, where United States dollars went into Germany and helped those people build. When we defeated Japan, I have not heard any noise about those people have to pull themselves up by their hair strings or boot strings when you don't have any boots. We went in there with our money and pulled them up. So I'm not asking for anything that's special, because if I had been successful in winning the United States Senate race, I would have asked America to go back and pay black people for their labor, 244 years of it, just as they paid the Indians for their land. Well, since I have not had that opportunity, and I can keep reminding. I was so happy to see the governor last week. I was really happy to see that governor. That's the governor that appointed me on the Teachers Retirement Board one day, and I got fired the next day. Thank you, Governor. You did me a great favor. And I'm going to remember that, and I'm sorry I didn't remind you of that in my speech the other day. And for those of you that are black out there, that think that you aren't black, I want you to do me a personal favor. Go to the mirror. I think it was a disgrace that some black elected officials was not celebrating Martin Luther King's birthday with the rest of the people. Who do you think you are? You think you better than anybody else? And to the middle class blacks, I want to tell you that we are all 3 months away from being listed with the homeless. All we need to do is to be unemployed for 3 months. Today we say goodbye to Delane Easley from Hoffman, Oklahoma. A crowd gathered to say goodbye to Delane Easley. Delane, who was born and raised in the Hoffman area and who has made a contribution to Oklahoma City. As I look at the clock on the wall, I know I'm going to have to say goodbye, and I really hate to say goodbye to all of you because you're so kind, so sweet. But in saying goodbye to you, I know that I will see you on Monday at 2:15, 3:50, and I'll be back with you Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday I will be here at 2 o'clock. And until then, just remember, today was Zeta's Day on the Clara Luper radio show. Goodbye, and I do love you.